guys, hey guys, hey guys, hey, 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 hey.
Hello, Foodie Booties.
Hey everybody, it's me, Zach, this is Judy, and welcome back to our channel. How are you all doing today? I hope you're doing well. To just get quick and to the point today, we're going to talk about Chantal Marie, Chantal Show, Foodie Booty, Flobby Bobby, Big Beautiful Me, the Daily Chantal, Chantopolis, whoever, whatever today. I have a lot of thoughts, feelings, things that I've been thinking about, and I don't know how else better to do it than just like get quick and straight to the point. And just real quick, I want to talk about, something that has probably impacted a lot of people in a lot of different kinds of ways, and in particular, people in the queer community, the LGBTQIA community, and also just gave a little bit of a content warning that I'm going to be talking about a shooting that happened here in the United States. So just use caution moving forward if that is something that you're not ready to talk about, listen to, or whatever it might be. But if you don't know, there was a shooting that took place in Colorado this weekend. I woke up on Sunday morning to seeing news of it all over social media. Pretty much every social media platform I'm a part of, I saw somebody post something about it. It was a shooting at a gay club, and there are, last I looked, 5 people who are dead and probably something, I think, like 18 people who were injured. Granted, some of those things could have been updated since I last watched, or I could have also misremembered a number here or there. But either way, obviously a tragedy to all the people who were impacted by that, to the people who lost their lives, to the family and friends of the people who lost their lives. It's just tragic. And in particular, I think queer people in this situation across the nation do have a worry that this could happen to them, because honestly it has happened before. It happened at Pulse nightclub in Orlando years ago. I took all of that in yesterday, and I already had planned, I'm in a weekly volleyball league that is ran by like a gay organization, and most of the people who do participate in it identify somewhere along the LGBTQIA spectrum. I said I'm gonna go be surrounded by queer people who I care about and I know care about me, and we also went out for drinks at a gay establishment, specifically a lesbian bar, afterwards as well. And it was so refreshing to be, I'm often in spaces where I can be surrounded by other queer people, but particularly on a day like yesterday, it was so good to be surrounded by other people who were part of my community, who cared about me, and who I also cared about. I promise there's relevance to bringing that up. And the relevance for me bringing that up is that I always feel nervous and anxious about talking about any kind of content on my channel when it comes really particularly to Chantal being a bigot, but also, anytime like I share a bit about my life related to being a queer person in some kind of way, there's always some level of like expected homophobia that I'm gonna have to endure in the comments. And I'm a public figure. I'm at a point in my life where like I have boundaries for how I deal with that, but that doesn't mean I love to have to like enforce those boundaries or like avoid the comments or things like that. And so when I happened to check in on social media last night, after spending a significant amount of time with other queer people, it was not thrilling to see debates and conversations about whether or not Sala was making a homophobic gesture towards me. But here's the thing. I do have these conversations on YouTube, on my channel, when they're relevant, when it's regarding a topic or people that I typically cover on my channel, because I care about these things, And no means is Sala making a hand gesture like this. By no means is that obviously any way responsible for what happened in Colorado at all, obviously. It is indicative of a society that we live in, right? It's indicative of a space we live in where, LGBTQ people still face discrimination, oppression. Our lives are at stake, And so I think it's important to talk about that, but that's also why I talk about other marginalized identities, especially ones that Chantal has harmed. And, sometimes also when I bring these things up, people are like, well, you're just looking for content. I mean, literally, we're going to talk about how Chantal thinks that this is all fake outrage for content, right? Or people, think that I'm trying to, like, be better or, like, suggest that I'm on a different moral high ground to other people. And that's not the case at all. I talk about these things because I care about these things. I talk about these things because they do impact people on a daily basis. I talk about these things because there are all kinds of marginalized folks who are experiencing things like this. And it's so frustrating that this is the world we live in. So I just wanted to share all of that for context for, like, where my mind was at. It was, I think, a tough day for a lot of people, a lot of queer people yesterday. And, I definitely think it does frame how I'm even thinking about this situation, So anyways, I guess to get started, let me just share a clip of Chantal just, like, going off about me, which also will include the hand gesture amongst some other things, and then I'm just gonna, like, break it down afterwards. And I do want to give a shout out to Barbecue Chicken, who I'm mostly using. I got tagged in so many different clips on Twitter, and it just so happens that, like, Barbecue Chicken does a great job of, like, documenting all the important parts of live streams, and it's just easier for me to go to that one space to get it. So thank you, Barbecue Chicken, for doing that work. And I know also she's not the only one that does that. There's so many people who are clipping things like that, and I appreciate that as somebody who doesn't care to sit through an hour-long video of Chantal live streaming.
And I'm not addressing especially any of reaction channels, but I want to say I did see a comment that I have to address. And not negatively, just matter of fact. Zachary Michael made a comment apparently that...
Who was like, the hopeless case?
The hopeless case.
Okay.
No, but he's like, the difference is I get like 60K views and you get 15K, girl.
Oh, yeah.
No, but listen to this. Listen to this, okay? The reason you get those views is because you bully the same two women online for the past how many years? Like, nobody, like, okay, maybe he gets a decent amount of views, maybe like 18K or something on his own vlogs. So if you're just going to sit here and criticize my vlogs, then maybe make your own since you get decent views on your own, right? But you're not going to get the 60K over talking about yourself. So really, you still have to thank Amberlynn and I. So yeah, you're welcome. Like, your content is sad. You literally sit there making fun of somebody's apartment that you don't even know. Like, get a life. That's your content. Get a life. Like, sorry. So yeah, your 60K views for bullying the same two women for years. Congratulations. No one cares. You just sit there looking snobby and snotty with your, like, crappy voice and just pick apart every little thing that people do. Like, really? I'm not jealous of your views because I can just be me and I'm happy with my 10K any day. Thank you.
At least you have your own content.
Exactly. If I can't stand when people are like, well, at least reaction channels get more views. Not with their own content. No, they don't. No, they don't. Every single video of his is picking apart something Amberlynn and I do. Being ableist, fat shaming, and just a snobby piece of crap. That's it. So yeah, there you go.
So let's just get the hand gesture out of the way to begin with. I would like to be somebody who does give folks the benefit of the doubt. So I don't know, maybe in his culture or that region of the world or other places outside of America, maybe doing this does mean, like, oh, Zach's being snotty or snobby or whatever. I don't know. All I can say is that if somebody, in the context of America, where I'm from, if somebody was doing that to me, I would take it offensively. And I have to believe that Chantal's not so dumb. I mean, granted, Chantal's from Canada, but there are many things about Canadian culture that are not that different than American culture, okay? I have to believe that Chantal knows why people think that's offensive, even if Sala didn't realize it was offensive or not. Let me then follow up with sharing this community tab post that Chantal has made but has since deleted on her channel. She says, So it's okay for Zach to dehumanizing Amberlynn all the time? I don't even know what the fuck. How do you dehumanizing somebody? Like, grammar, but whatever. All that to say, it's okay for Zach to dehumanizing Amberlynn all the time and to shame Sala for his home, but when Sala does a hand gesture mocking how snotty Zach is, it's all of a sudden gay shaming. I think what you mean is homophobia. There is an actual name for that. I don't think so, but I guess you are all getting desperate for content. The content you reaction channels steal on a daily basis. That same content. So it's so boring and tedious and pathetic and blah blah, but you obsess over it the minute anything happens. Anything. I could buy cream cheese and people will talk about it for 8,910,101 videos. LMAO, love that for you. Stay mad, kissy face. And for whatever reason, Chantal has allowed comments again on community tab posts and some videos and things like that. And so I don't know where, this was just something I did get tagged in on Twitter. I don't know where it actually was originally posted. I would guess maybe on this community tab post. It's hard for me to verify that because it has since been deleted. But there was a comment from somebody who appears to be a VIBzer. She said, I freaking love my LGBTQ plus folks, but Zach and his minions can suck it with their fake sanctimonious outrage. He literally makes a living trashing two women online. Go cry in the corner somewhere. And Chantal responded, right? And then Sala responded, we don't have any issue with LGBTQ+. We respect all human beings, which we'll get to because at a minimum, you certainly didn't respect Amberlynn, but that's neither here nor there. But we were talking about Zachary as a person replying to his video when he shamed us about living in studio and about fat shaming. That's all, and good night. And then Chantal responded, they just need fake outrage for content. I would like to talk about several parts of that. Okay, I would like to talk about several parts of that. First of all, this is really directed at the person who commented, not Chantal or Sala, but she referred to my minions or people getting upset as my minions. And I just have to say that's a little bit silly because all of this took place while I was literally not even home, okay? I was literally not there. I haven't, up until this video, even commented publicly on the situation. I did actually quote tweet something from Michael B. Petty that I just thought was funny. But outside of that, like, I haven't said anything. I haven't sent directions to people to go comment and suggest that this is homophobic. I didn't ask for any of it. I didn't start the dialogue, and I'm really engaging in the dialogue because I think it's important, but it didn't start because of me. They're not my minions. In fact, I wouldn't ever ask anybody to do anything on my behalf like that. I need people to realize that it's possible, perhaps, that other people all watched the same thing, saw the same thing, and interpreted the same thing as offensive without any, like, collective person saying, like, oh my gosh, that's what it is, right? Like, certainly, I think there were reaction channels who were talking about it and things like that, but that's all possible to happen without me giving any kind of directive. Certainly, I think a lot of this was directed at other reaction channels and not me specifically, but it is weird to say that I would need some kind of fake outrage to create content when, like, I wasn't even creating content at the time of the initial, like, outrage over the hand gesture. And in fact, I would have had content to go today even if this hadn't happened. What I really wanted to do was make a video about the 1,000 Pound Sisters and Tammy getting engaged and married, but yet here we are, and I'm addressing whatever this nonsense is on my channel today. And I'll touch on, like, the fat shaming and the studio shaming as we go. But I do just want to say that the fat shaming really takes me out because, say what you want about me allegedly, supposedly studio shaming her, home shaming her, whatever you want to call it, but when it comes to her weight, the only time in recent history I've even brought up her weight was when Pete's said that her scale was broken by like 90 pounds. It was off by like 90 pounds or something like that. And that's literally the only thing I've said about her weight, because you don't have to talk about Chantal's weight to talk about her being a bad person. And in fact, I don't think somebody being fat makes them a bad person. I'm fat myself, so that would be so ludicrous for me to say. So the only time in recent history I've even come close to talking about her weight in any kind of way was in regards to the scale that Pete said was broken. And that's that on that. Now, what I want to spend a significant time talking about outside of the hand gesture, which again, I do think, in my experience as a gay person in America, that would be offensive, okay? But the other thing I want to spend some time talking about is this concept that I spent all my time bullying two channels. Like, bully is an interesting choice of words, I think, coming from Chantal. Because, first of all, like, how have I bullied her? The worst things I've ever said about her that people only just now have an issue with, and we can talk about that, is that I've called her a bald bigot, which, again, is not a joke, just a fact.
Not a joke, just a fact.
And I used the word closet to describe where she lived in the title of a video where I discussed for 2 minutes at the end of a video that she showed his apartment on her live stream. And in the same video, I talked about how I lived in a studio for a year of my life. There's not even a question about that. It's documented on my channel. You can go see videos from that time where I was living in a studio. People always talked about how I had my microwave on top of my fridge. You could often see into my bathroom behind me because I lived in a studio. And I don't see any shame in living in a studio. The entire point, once again, for the third time, the point of me bringing it up is that Chantal had described Sala in a completely different way. And I was just noting the fact that how she described Sala and what he had financially and all of that was not what matched up with what we're getting in Kuwait. And I in fact did a follow-up video where I addressed those concerns as well, which seemingly Chantal has watched but did not seem to take in any of that. But I also want to address that they have focused so much on this alleged house shaming that for me it has to be to pivot away from the other things I talked about in that video. I mean, that was the initial video that I brought up his studio to begin with, was also a video where I addressed the scale, was also a video, more importantly, where I addressed Sala telling somebody to go unalive themselves. So it feels very convenient to move the focus away from that conversation, which was the last big thing to happen on her channel before she decided to start coming for me for whatever reason. She has shifted now the narrative away from anybody discussing Sala telling somebody to go unalive themselves and has now focused it on, well, Zach is a house shamer. Zach isn't being thoughtful about all the people who might live in similar situations to that. No, I'm very empathetic, sympathetic, and supportive of people living in whatever living situation they either have to or want to. Because I also recognize a lot of people live in studios because they want to. It's not the end of the world. So keep deflecting, Chantal. Keep trying to change the narrative. Do what you need to do. But also in that clip, she had the audacity to say things about me being a fat shamer and an ableist. And let's be very clear that over the past 2 years, with the exception of maybe like 2 or 3 videos about Chantal here or there, I've mostly saved my Chantal commentary to focus on when she's been a bigot. Okay, like the exceptions I can think of is when I reacted to the vlog of her flying to Kuwait, when I reacted to her doing the modeling gig show situation type of deal. And outside of that, almost every time I've had to talk about, well, I didn't have to do anything, but every time I've talked about her on my channel has been to talk about the various ways she's decided to commit herself to being a bigot over the years, whether that's to saying the R word, which, like, how are you going to call me an ableist when you regularly have that as a part of your vocabulary?
Sweet Jane, are you fucking? Oh, sorry, I said retarded. Oh, I'm not allowed to say retarded. Ooh, sorry. Oh, sorry, that's a slur. Give me a break. I'm so tired of people being so fucking SJW. You can't even say anything anymore without people being fucking offended. I obviously, honestly, the R word, honestly, that pisses me off. I'm going to be honest. Because honestly, I obviously don't have anything. It's so stupid. I obviously don't have anything against people with disabilities. It's so stupid. Retard is also figurative. It means you're fucking stupid. It has nothing to do with people with disabilities. Actually, people with disabilities are not insulted by the word retard. Okay? Retard means you're fucking stupid.
To being racist, to being anti-Semitic, homophobic, transphobic. I mean, at this point, you name it, and Chantal has done it. And I'm sorry, but if you're trying to flip the script where I'm apparently this big bad bully for calling Chantal what she is, a bald bigot, and putting in my title of a video that she was living in a closet, you want to compare that to the actual horrible shit that Chantal has said over the years. Like, I can take an L over the closet thing. I really, if I offended people, and in fact, I know people said that they were offended by that comment, I do apologize to that. And I feel bad for doing that and putting people in a position where they were uncomfortable. But to compare that to the actual bullshit bigotry that's happened on Chantal's channel, I don't think is fair at all. And it's a convenient way for Chantal to try to pivot, because the one time I said something that bothered folks and made folks uncomfortable and offended, she has to latch on to that. But the difference is that I'm willing to accept that and you know, keep that in mind for when I make future videos. You won't see me probably make a mistake like that again. Chantal's gonna continue fucking up. Chantal's gonna continue doing shitty, bigoted things on her channel. Not to mention that she's feeling bullied over house shaming when she, and listen, I don't really care about this, it's just to make a point, but she continues to shame my voice and like talk about how awful my voice is. It's just like, she always has this eye for an eye attitude where she thinks two wrongs make a right. And it's just like, if you feel so adamantly about people bullying you, like pick your response and don't feel like you have to come for people for things that they can't help. Like, I don't intentionally make my voice sound this way. This is how it sounds on a daily basis. So anyways, she also did make a point to bring up the part where I talked about getting more views than her, which I really only brought up because she brought it up herself in that community tab post I read out loud. She said that I had more of a reach than she did, and I was just trying to amplify her side of the story. You call it what you want, but that's why I brought it up to begin with. And the fact that she was able to take that part from my video but didn't seem to see any of the other stuff that I had to say in it, which I don't believe. I think she saw it all. But like the fact that she couldn't, I guess, process any of the things I had to say in that particular video just speaks to like she has an idea for a narrative that she wants to tell in her head, and she's gonna tell it. But she is correct. I could make vlogs and still probably get more views than her, and in fact have. Like I can show you examples on the screen as I'm talking about all of this of like experiences where I've shared vlogs from my life or like things that didn't use Chantal or Amberlynn's name at all and still got significantly more views than her. I don't think it matters. I really don't think it matters at all, but if we're really gonna talk about it, we can. But I think it's also just so tired at this point for both her and Amberlynn and probably other people, they're not the only ones, I'm sure, to make this argument that like reaction channels should just vlog their lives and see how well they do it, when there are so many ways to exist on YouTube without showing both literally and figuratively your entire ass. Okay, like there are so many ways and so many different types of channels where a YouTuber exists and doesn't share their day-to-day lives. Like, I'm here to talk about the girlies. I'm here to be goofy and talk about the goofy things that other people are doing on the internet, and that's fine. With that being said, outside of that, I do actively, frequently talk about my personal life on Twitch. Quite frequently, actually. So I would suggest if that's content you're interested in, just come follow me over there, Chantal. But also the concept of telling me to get a life is fascinating because I very much do have one. I know this is going to be tough for Chantal, who doesn't understand the concept of boundaries and that, like, your job doesn't have to be your entire life, and just because your job is social media doesn't mean you have to be on social media at all hours of the day. But just as a quick rundown, since she told me to get a life, this is the life I've had over the past month, okay, or so, maybe a little bit more. I flew to New Orleans. I flew to Las Vegas. I've seen 2 K-pop concerts. I've frequently gotten dinner with friends. I participated in a weekly volleyball league. I've seen many plays at various Chicago theaters. I'm actually supposed to go see Wicked next week. I've worked out. I've walked my dogs. I've loved my dogs. I've loved my partner. I've accomplished so much, and no, I don't talk about it all on YouTube because after I get done filming these silly, goofy videos and interacting for a while with people in the comments, I turn my computer off, I turn my phone off, and I go live my fucking life however I deem fit outside of this quarter of the internet. So might I suggest, Chantal, simply log off. Just simply turn it off and enjoy your life with your husband in Kuwait, where you're clearly so happy that you just can't help but come on and rage and get upset on the internet. Now, I also am going to include this quick clip of Chantal coming for Judy's chair.
I find that, like, people who are complaining about the dogs, like, they're outside, they looked well taken care of. Like, some people keep their dogs in a purse or in, like, in a small apartment or on a crappy chair, like someone we know. And
I don't think I even really need to defend myself that both my dogs, Judy and Poe, are very happy, satisfied dogs, well taken care of. I think that's, like, apparent through how I interact with them on YouTube and also social media. But I'm mostly just including it because, like, this is just also how ridiculous she is. She's, like, willing to come for anything that she's gonna come for Judy's chair. So are we chair shaming now, Chantal? You're chair shaming? You're shaming the furniture in my home? The furniture that my dog likes to lay on? That's how silly you sound, okay? Just for the record, Chantal. Also gotta note that she has in the past talked about how cute my dog is, and specifically Judy. So, you know, it's no surprise that per usual, she is contradicting something she has said herself in the past. And then the last thing we have to talk about and address, and also honestly might be the reason she deleted the community posts as opposed to, like, anything to do with me, is that she and Sala sat and laughed about Chantal eating food and eating too much food and being fat and whoever, whatever. And I'll just show you the clip.
well, I'm not going to Kentucky, that's for sure. We have a cheesecake factory here, though. Can Amberlynn come to the Middle East? I'm kidding.
She will finish the chocolates and the food.
Fat shaming! We're both gonna finish the Salah!
Joking. She can come anytime she wants. She will come.
There you go, Amberlynn. We'll eat all the chocolates together, alright?
It's so delicious, the chocolates, by the way.
But you're right, there's a lot of food here. She would love it.
Too many,
Yeah.
all the kind of the foods. She'll
Yeah.
find it here.
There's a cheesecake factory. We gotta take her to Dip and Dip.
Oh, the
Yeah.
crepes? Nice.
Come over.
So interestingly enough, Amberlynn kind of dragged her appropriately. And so I'm going to read this community tab post that Amberlynn made on her channel for y'all. Amberlynn said, "I can't imagine sitting next to someone I'm in love with and have them fat shame a woman all while being big themselves. You can't preach about fat shaming, but allow your partner to fat shame someone in front of thousands of people. Laughing about it is just as bad as making the comment yourself. I have only ever stuck up for Chantal when it comes to her weight, the shaming, the hate, and her marriage. Hearing Sala make a fat joke and Chantal laughing afterwards while crying fat shaming is like a damn parody to me. Chantal, this isn't even about me at this point. Do you have respect for yourself? If Sala feels this way about me, do you ever wonder if he secretly feels this way about you? And yeah, she kind of dragged Chantal in that for sure. But also, let me just be clear real quick that, you know, this is not a win for Amberlynn either. If we're being honest, like, kudos to you for calling it what it is, but also, like, you played yourself, Amberlynn, because how many times at this point has Chantal said shitty things about you? She made fun of your dangling cankle. Chantal's medical word, not mine. Chantal used what she said was a medical word, cankle, to describe Amberlynn's dangling cankle. And she used to mock Amberlynn all the time for using an electric scooter as well. So it's just like, there have been so many things at this point that Chantal has did to show herself to be an absolute horrible human being. And Amberlynn has stood by her side. Even after Chantal said things about her, but let alone the various bigotry that Chantal has stood for, has done, said, whoever, whatever. And this is why I continue to tell Amberlynn every time in my reaction videos when she brings up Chantal, is that you're looking like a fool. You're playing yourself every time you publicly support a known bigot like Chantal. So just keep that in mind, Amberlynn. Just keep it in mind. And yeah, I think that's about all I have today. This, like I said, isn't a video I enjoy making, but a video I think is important to highlight that, you know, even small experiences of things that could be homophobic or perceived as homophobic matter in the grand scheme of things. And, you know, I don't think it has any direct correlation, obviously, to what happened, but it is also indicative of why I cover these things. It's important because there are lots of people who don't see anything wrong with these things, and it matters to me. It matters to me that we care about LGBTQ people, that we treat them with the respect and dignity that they deserve, and I don't feel like Chantal is capable of understanding that, you know? So, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you're brand new to my channel, make sure to subscribe down below. Hit the bell button so you get a notification every single time I post a new video. And make sure to follow me on all my social media. I love you all so much, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!